Hi. Okay, so this video is going to reach the right people. It's going to encourage and inspire someone that you can still make an impact even if you're not following a traditional path, and even if you're not validated or being of service through a path or through external permission or through some external structure or whatever. I don't know how to put this into words, but I need to encourage a few people that there might be someone or a cause or something in your heart, and you're going to know what this is for you when you think of it. I'll just share this kind of personal example for me. I go to events where we talk about deep things, and was a story from one of the people there, a story in their life about something that they're struggling with. They're just at the edge. They're at the edge of a really, really difficult, maybe life-threatening situation. It's intense, okay? And I have lived parallel experiences to what they are going through. And what happened today, maybe this story will be encouraging or inspiring for the right person. Hi, sweet girl. But I saw a short video on YouTube of, yes, hi, sweet angel, of a ultrasound image of the baby's face in the womb and a literal hand on the face like this. And it was a Facebook post that went viral, and this woman posted the photo and a caption, and it said something like she, prayed that God put his hand over her child in the womb and guide her through this pregnancy and through raising the child and whatnot. And I love things like this because they remind me that, there are spirits guiding us. We are not limited to only the people around us. We're not limited to this physical world. We are connected to spirits, to the spirit realm, to God. And a lot of people who lose hope or feel like they can't have faith, or that they're losing faith, feel that way because where's their sonogram ultrasound? Is that even the right word? Where's their ultrasound photo of God with his hand on their face? Where is the apparition in the photo that they take of themselves, proving that their ancestors standing right behind them, or, God is in the room, and for the people who don't, have dreams, of spiritual guidance or godly presence, or who don't have the proof that they need in the world, the tangible evidence to encourage and inspire them to have faith, keep faith. It's videos like that truly spiritually help to make the world go round. Because faith and holiness and our spiritual connection is something meant to be shared. It's meant to be shared. It's meant to be celebrated. It's meant to be rejoiced in collectively. And so I thought of this person. Who was going through this thing. When this person shared their stories of what they were suffering with and struggling with, it really made me emotional. It really impacted me because it touched my heart. Because again, I have lived through similar things, and I felt just compassion and heart love for this person and their situation. So when I saw that YouTube video, I thought of them. And at this point in my life, I have learned that when my spirit stirs enough to remind me with love and tenderness of somebody, I know that I need to reach out to them. I know that I am picking up their energy, that they're coming into my field. I'm thinking of them. I'm feeling an emotional, magnetic, even if it's subtle, it's there. And I'm feeling that draw towards them. And so I sent this person the video, and I said, I really hope this is not insensitive, because I don't know, how they feel about receiving, this in a message. I didn't know them that well, but I trusted my impulse, and I just surrendered, and I let it go. And I was like, if they have a bad reaction, then I did what I was moved to do, and I have good intentions, and it was nothing explicitly harmful, right? I'm thinking of you, and I'm sending you something that makes my faith and my spirit a little stronger, and I know what you're going through right now, and so I want to just extend a hand to you. And it was one of those kinds of things. And without going into too much detail, we continued to have a back and forth exchange, and they were receptive to my message, and we just kind of were present with each other, and they were opening up to me about today specifically, that things are harder than they have been before, and more intense, more scary, or whatever. And so I just continued to, and this is my message to you, I trusted my intuition. I listened to the Holy Spirit inside of me, aka my natural drive to share compassion and to extend a hand. And this is something that I have been practicing my whole life, listening to my intuition and following it. I've had pretty much my whole life, I have led with my intuition, not my whole life, but as a young adult and onward. Even as a kid, I was intuitive and doing things in my own way, but now in life, it's like, if the Holy Spirit moves me, if I'm moved all of a sudden, overwhelmed with compassion and a desire to serve someone and help someone, I'm going to act on it. And I know that my role is not to rescue people. My role is not to pull people out of their suffering. My role is to serve people by meeting them where they're at, and by opening my heart and showing them that I am a safe space, I am a non-judgmental space, I am an understanding space, I'm a compassionate space, and I feel them, and I love them. That's what love is. That's what love feels like. It's like I feel compelled to let people know that I care, and that I can relate to what they're going through, and that I emotionally feel what they're feeling. I emotionally have compassion, and I need to share it. And a lot of the time, it makes people feel less alone. But this is just, I wanted to make this video because there's someone who's going to watch this video and be encouraged. Next time you feel God and the Holy Spirit stirring in your soul and your heart to reach out to someone and simply just say, I love you, or I'm thinking of you, or this reminded me of you, or I hear what you're going through. I really do, because I have lived it myself. And I'll also share something else too. This is a part of my journey. It might be important for someone to hear. I am a trauma and emotional abuse survivor. I was raised by a narcissist, and I was abandoned, really just neglected, emotionally neglected. And sometimes I'm afraid to show love and care to people because I never learned to trust it when I was younger. And so when people would reach out to me with loving, kind words, I just want to let you know I care about you, I'm thinking of you, or whatever, it somehow never touched me. It never reached me. It was hard for the kind of emotional presence that I needed to feel. For me, it was hard for me to feel that. Even when people maybe were present with me, it was hard for me to receive it. And so now, being at the other end of everything I've survived, and learning that trusting my intuition is one of the most important things in this life, I know that my presence is enough. And so I want to remind you that your presence is enough. And maybe for some of you watching this, you've held yourself back from serving God, aka serving that spirit that stirs in your heart because of fear that it won't be enough or that it won't make an impact, or because of twisted priorities that maybe you are afraid of reaching out and extending your hand or your heart and getting rejected, or getting, I don't know, or reinforcing some trauma that you have, that people are going to abandon you, people are going to neglect you. It's tough. This is such a niche topic, especially for abuse survivors, or, you know, CPTSD survivors, you know, who, you know, don't have the best relationship with emotional safety and trust and support. And from my perspective, you know, in the past, when I have felt that same impulse to love and care for people, I took too much responsibility onto myself. I almost played God unconsciously, not like meaning to do it, but in the sense where I took on the weight of what the other people were experiencing and what I was trying to relieve. And then in that way, it became about me trying to relieve myself of an internal pressure to make things better for someone else. And I like carried that weight. But something that has freed me up to be more in service to God is to actually just be as honest as I can about my desire to help people and to love people and be there for people, which is so much more gravitational and meaningful than just the words, I'm here for you. It's presence, it's action, it's listening, it's acting on your instincts. But I let go of any need to be received a certain way. And that can be really hard. It can be really challenging. It was challenging for me in the past, and I feel like it discouraged me from feeling like I can make an impact in a small way, and I can be purposeful. I can have a meaningful, fulfilling life, and I'm not dependent on whether or not how someone reacts, how someone receives it, because I think my desire to serve was tangled up in my unmet emotional needs. And so I feel like this video, I'm starting to get like gobbledygook in my head. Things are a little tangled up in there right now. Because I feel like I've exhausted all the words that I am trying to say. But if there's any one single message that I want you to take away from this video, I mean, take whatever is for you, take whatever you take, but the core message that I'm here to share is your desire to serve and your compassion is enough. I promise you it's enough. And if you can surrender your need to be validated by the people you're helping, by the way that they respond to you, or the way that they feel, then if you can surrender that, then it will free up your energy to feel more love and to feel like the love is flowing more. So you're able to, do God's work, to exercise the calling of your soul. I mean, even for some people who might, work as like an EMT or whatever, you obviously do it because you have a heart for humanity. You do it because you're passionate, about staying grounded, bringing stability to chaotic, emergency, traumatic situations. That's a lot of EMTs do what they do because they're built for it. And maybe some people aren't built for it and they realize it later on. But I just want to remind you that your presence is more than enough. And the harsh reality about being a healer or a helper is that one of the things that you have to surrender is your attachment to an outcome. when you walk in to serve someone who's suffering, one of the first things that you need to know, and I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't one of the first things they teach you in, medical school or EMT school or whatever, is that there is an edge. You're like edge walkers. The people I'm talking to are like threshold walkers. I kind of want to call myself a threshold doula because this is my MO right now and in my life. Because I'm always kind of at the edge, meeting people at the edge, diving into the unknown, taking leaps of faith, just living like that. That's been my thing. But one of the first things that you should know walking into a situation where you are fulfilling the role of angel in the room, or present person just trying to help, it is not about being successful or changing the person that you're in front of. It's not even about reducing someone's pain or taking away their pain. It is about being available. It's literally about being on call. It is about opening your heart with humility, sharing your perspectives only when you feel moved. Only when you feel moved. Only. Not sharing to fix or change. Offering it. Offering it the way that you would dump out the water that you didn't drink from your water bottle outside your car before you get in the car. It's in a loose cup and you got water at an event or something and you don't want to drink any more of the water and you don't want it to slosh around in your car, so you dump the water on the street, or you dump the water in the grass to a tree. When you water a tree, you don't expect the tree to give you a hug or water you back. Although that's how reciprocity works. You give the tree water, the tree sustains life, whatever. It's, there's a harmony, there's a balance at play. And when it comes to selflessly serving your mission and your purpose and being compassionate towards people and helping people, a lot of that work requires you to be in a place where you're able to give freely. Because a lot of healers drain themselves and lie to themselves about their capacity. And a lot of healers are actually narcissists trying to fill a void and helping people and serving people because they want the validation of being perceived as a hero. But love and giving has nothing to do with your image and who you are. Love and giving only is complete when it's a gift. When a fruit tree drops a ripe fruit, it does not expect you to pick it up and give it back to the tree. That's ridiculous. Doesn't make sense. I'm thinking of Shel Silverstein's The Giving Tree. I haven't actually read that in many years, but I don't even remember what it's about. I think it's sad at some points, but I think everyone just keeps taking from the tree. But that's the thing. The tree is wired to give. The tree is wired. Its abundance is encoded in nature. And that's why you can take and take and take from the world and the earth and the trees, and they're not going to fight you back because they survive because they're encoded genetically with eternity. They're abundant. Literally, the DNA in a tree and the DNA in humans is designed to reproduce itself. There's a code in all living beings that says, keep going for infinity. There's no expiration date in our genes and our DNA that says after 50 billion years, you're going to expire. I mean, maybe there is. I don't know. That's a long time, and I don't even know if humans will be around after that. Anyway, but, and even the concept energy cannot be created nor destroyed. When you give energy, you're only giving energy when you don't need or expect it to come back to you. You're only really giving energy when you're not holding on tight to it. A true gift comes from abundance, and encoded in our DNA is abundance. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm just trying to draw parallels here to really drive down in the point that when you serve God, when you serve, aka when you serve from love, when you serve from compassion, it's supposed to be free. It's supposed to be free. So just, be prepared and just share from your heart, knowing that your heart is actually a wellspring of love, and you can replenish yourself. You can always replenish yourself. So love is free, but just because love is free doesn't mean that you're obliged to perform or give more than you have. And when you do have energy to give, it's enough. It counts. And when you have the impulse or the instinct to reach out to someone, play with it. If you don't trust it at first, play with it. And if you feel uncomfortable or unsafe following your instinct to help people or to reach out to someone who's suffering, because that's a real experience, I'm not going to bypass it, and that's something that I've lived through, but I've kind of, I'm not really limited by it in the same way that I used to be when I was younger. But I would suggest, if you want to be of service and you really want to just let the energy of God and of the Holy Spirit and of love just flow through you, you have to learn to let it flow. You have to learn to pour it out. So what I would suggest is, if that feels too scary with people, in other words, if you learned that you couldn't trust anyone, and if you learned that everyone you ever loved was going to abandon you and hurt you, because that happened to me when I was young. So of course I was afraid to love people, because I learned that loving people would cost me everything, because that was my childhood and that was my adolescence, and that was even just recently, that was my early impressions of life. But God is better than that. God restores things. And now I just had this beautiful moment of giving love freely. And so I want to encourage you. I want to inspire you, but if you're in a place where you don't trust the world to keep you safe when you give love to people, because you have love in your heart. We're all meant to give love. But if it's dangerous for you, if you're in survival mode, then maybe try it with something else. Maybe try building a relationship with an animal or plants, because those guys don't have conditions. Those guys will never put conditions on your love. That's why so many people, love pets and have pets, because they're unconditionally loving. Like, my cat is not holding a grudge against me for anything. She doesn't withhold her love at all. And also, this is just a little anecdote, but like, dog is God spelled backwards. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's any meaning to that. There has to be. If not, I'm making it up. I know a lot of people say that though, but it's like, point blank, like, unconditional love is real, and it's real with humans too. And if you haven't known it with humans before, that can really be an impediment on, your mission to serve and heal and love people. So I would encourage you to, heal your trauma. That's obviously easier said than done, but keep doing the good work that you're doing to untangle these threads so that you can learn to trust love again and share it with people, because it's bountiful and there's so many people in the world that you can share your love with. And I know that there are a lot of other, wounded healers who don't quite have or feel settled in their rhythm of sharing love with people, because they have learned that, vulnerability and sharing love equals abandonment or whatever. But, what I've kind of learned is that a lot of people are extremely limited when it comes to their capacity to express love and presence, especially in the ways that maybe you need. And that's never a reflection of you. And the more that I've remembered my identity as a woman of God, a child of God, a creation of God. I am created in God's image. We all are. And no matter how humanly flawed we are, we're all imperfect, there's still infinite love in there. And when you learn to find it and share it, it's like, that's where freedom is. That's freedom. That is freedom. That's freedom, because you don't become bound to what people do or say or think or feel or how they treat you anymore. It's like you can find compassion. You can restore compassion and softness in the places that maybe was stolen from you by, a painful or abusive situation. And I'm not saying let abusive people into your life. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that love is real. Love is all around us. I love you. I feel you. And there are people who feel what you're going through, even if you can't see them. And when you think of a person and you have compassion in your heart, thinking about what someone else is going through, that's proof that love is all around us. The heaviness and the grief and the care that you feel for the world is proof that love is everywhere. And I want to encourage you to start sharing that in ways that feel safe and honest. So start sharing that in ways that feel safe and honest. And also, if there are parts of you that feel unloved or neglected, first of all, God loves you. Second of all, take your love for the world as proof that other people love you the same. There are other people who've lived what you've lived and who've suffered what you've suffered, and they feel you and they love you. Even if they're not saying something. And then think about all the times that you have felt the impulse to show care for someone, but it got squashed by your trauma, by your fear. The fear and the trauma are the enemy, not the people. It's like the evil, the pain. Pain is not an enemy, but suffering. That's what we're warring against, not other people. And I also feel like, the last thing I'll say is I feel like when you learn to free up your love and you learn to trust goodness again, actually, and this is not something that you can just intellectually grasp and just, change your life overnight and all of a sudden become, free in love. It's like, it's an experience. You have to cultivate your nervous system's capacity to experience trust and security in areas of your life that previously scarred you. So it's like a muscle that you have to build, and it's like you're like a little snail. You go out of your shell and you eat food or whatever, and then you go back in your shell when someone tries to touch your little snail slug eyeball, or when it's raining and you get a raindrop on your slug eye or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, right, the more that you trust the abundance of love in this world, and it's not an intellectual concept, and I'm not encouraging you to force yourself to perform. This has nothing to do with performance, nothing to do with proving anything. This is from my heart to your heart. This is a private heart-to-heart conversation. This is not about proving anything. This is about, I see you, I feel you, and I'm offering words of encouragement and guidance from where I have come from in the past, from my experience. And again, I'm going to wrap up this thought. I'm running around it at 1,000,000 miles per hour. But when you learn to trust that love, you will feel so much better, and you'll feel free to care without strings attached, and you'll feel free from any responsibility of whatever happens on the other side, because you can't control that. You can't control what happens. You can't control the outcome. And that's not what it's about. It's not about control. It's about, I am here, and I'm here. Here we are together. Here we are together. You and I, we're together. You're not alone anymore. We're together. And this is about so much more than words. this whole video, this whole message is not something that someone told me once upon a time and I was like, oh, I get it, and now I can teach it and talk about it now. It's like, no, this came from suffering, this came from loss, this came from abandonment, this came from my fear of loving people and of sharing the compassion that I have in my heart, because I feel everything and I'm touched by so many different people. And I want to help a lot more than I have let myself in the past, because I was not ready or able to, because my nervous system would short circuit if I showed a certain kind of care for someone, because that's vulnerable, because you're giving a gift, you're giving a piece of your spirit, you're giving a piece of yourself to somebody without needing it back. I mean, in a way that creates a sense of freedom. However, if you were, traumatized and taught not to trust that, then of course it's going to be hard. And of course you're going to feel stuck and scared, and like it limits your purpose. So anyway, I think that's the end of this video. I really hope that this gave you some grounding perspectives and reminded you that you're not alone, gave you clarity, gave you encouragement, that it's not this is not a hopeless situation. And I hope this gives the right things to the right people. So with that, I'm just going to release it. I love you so much. And please leave a comment if you feel inspired to. If you feel it stirring in your spirit, leave it for someone else to read and see your story. That spark, if you're here right now, there was some point in this video where you felt a spark. Something in you was touched. And that thing in you has an impact. This video is me sharing a spark that I felt from half an hour ago. And the reason that you feel that spark in you is because I took the spark from somewhere else and I'm carrying it in a torch and I'm putting it into this video. And then the spark that you get from this video is a spark that you have the power to use to warm up somebody else's life, to light up somebody else's life. It's like a pay it forward thing. It's not what I'm sharing, and the reason that you feel impacted, it has nothing to do with me. It's not about my ego. It's not about my wisdom. It's not about me. I'm just a vessel. I am just a vessel for the light of God. Okay? For the truth, this form of whatever to come through. And that frees me of so much pressure, so, limitations. It gives me freedom. It gives me permission. So I just want to encourage you. Very last thing I'll say, if you felt inspired watching this video, leave a comment if you feel inspired to, or pay it forward. Make your own video. Pour this energy into a creative project. Pour it into someone that you love. Pour it back into yourself, whatever. But let's keep the spark alive. And the way we can do that is by honoring when we feel a spark and acting on it. And it's so simple. It's so simple. That's how impactful and meaningful yet simple life can be. It can be as simple as just respecting the flow of it and carrying the torch in just the tiniest ways. And you know what? Your breath counts. Your prayers, your single thought can change the fabric of the world. You don't see it. You might not see it. Maybe you do see it. Maybe it comes back to you and you're blessed with that vision. But if you don't see it, I hope that this made it a little easier to see for you. But I'm telling you, it's freaking everywhere all the time. It's everywhere all the time, okay? So that is all I have for you. Again, I love you. Thank you for watching. Like this video, at least do that. Please help me out and help all the other people out so that this video can blow up and find the people that it needs to find to be inspired and to be supported, to be encouraged. Okay, so that's all. See you next time. Bye-bye.